That if he got an order for 100 of his units, we would throw a party. So he got an order, and then we're having the party. I'm a venture capitalist at Polaris Venture Partners in Waltham, and we have no immediate plans to invest in Promethean. So don't be confused by that.
Hold on, I have all these witnesses.
I didn't want to mislead anyone about it. So Sam, why don't you take over?
Okay, so a few years ago, we were at an event, and I cornered Bob. We had a few drinks. He had a week before he hosted us at the MIT 100K final. We were one of the finalists, and I said, if we get 100 orders, will you give us a
No, it was 1,000 orders, and then we talked it down to 100. No, that's
every time we saw him, right? we knocked it down a few hundred. And now we're at not only 100 orders. I emailed and I said, look, we're going to India for 3 months in February. Can we use a letter of intent that we got as an excuse for a party? You say, well, maybe a small party.
It's only a letter of intent.
So Bob is more than true to his word in this sense, and we really are very grateful for this excuse to get everyone together. And this is kind of proof that it does definitely take a community to have any kind of success in starting a company like this. So we are, just for those who don't know the background, we're developing a system that will enable farms in India that don't have access to electricity to chill their milk instantly. And that has a lot of economic incentives and benefits to both the farmers and the dairy production companies, because if you chill the milk, instead of collecting milk twice a day, you can collect it every other day. And so we're using a combination of delivering ice and solar to do that. Some of the people in this room have contributed greatly to that task. Jay has been with us from the very beginning, advising us on technical and business issues, invaluable guidance that we get from him weekly. Josh from Cooper Perkins designed the details of our system. We hired Cooper Perkins from Burlington to design the system for us, and we were initially focused on this technology called thermoelectrics. And Harald, one of the founders of Cooper Perkins, delicately was balancing the task of making sure they built something that worked and our desire to use a technology that would never work. So one day he was very sincere about making sure that he delivered on what we wanted, but also making sure that something worked. And at the end of the day, we really do appreciate his sincerity in guiding us in this process. And now we do have a working prototype. We have some great interest from companies like Nestle in Pakistan and some of the largest dairies in India. So we'll be testing this system in Goa at a company called Goa Dairy. And we'll see how it goes. While we're waiting. So Linda Plano, during our competition, was there actually creating PowerPoints with us, not just being an advisor. Andy is our lawyer, as well as Bill, our patent lawyer, working with us when we had no money, had faith in us. And this is our way of paying them back, since we'll never really be able to pay the bill. Thanks, Bob. So while we're waiting for that, I'll tell another story. We had a
potential customer come visit us about a month ago, and we presented to him this idea of our concept. And at first, he was very negative about it. He said, "No, this will never work. I don't like this. This is costing me too much." And we persisted on that idea with him. And just today, actually, at the end of his trip here in U.S., he agreed to give it a try, to actually do a trial with us in India at one of his farms. This is the largest private dairy in India, so it's a fairly big potential customer. And he said, "You know what, you guys," he was amazed at how many people are putting so much effort into this. I mean, he's coming from India, he's collecting milk. I mean, it's like an everyday thing. And then he sees a group of, us here and all of our, advisors and people around it, and he was amazed that there's so many people. When you told him that we're working full-time.
Right, so I was driving him back. Mina is our human factors consultant. She's a professor at Bentley, and she's been here with us from the very beginning, guiding us on, before going to India, what questions to ask, all the stakeholders in India, from the farmers to the owners of the dairies. And she was with us presenting this to the chairman of India's largest private dairy, and he had a visceral reaction to some aspects of our system. He just didn't like it. So I'm driving him home, and he turns to me and he says, "So what do you and Sorin do for a living?" I'm like, "Mr. Chandramagan, 24 hours a day, all we think about is chilling milk in India."
Sam, we haven't done.
And so the final, just to wrap it up, the final chapter of that is that he actually sent we sent him an invoice today for a down payment on the first unit. So it was our first invoice.
So Andy, don't worry. We got $2,500 coming. So because the movie is not working, we have another excuse to show it next year. We want to show you just one last piece of technology.
Yeah. So you said the topic was off-grid solar. We figured, maybe we should show something about that. But in those places in India where this is going to sit, the system is going to sit, there's literally no infrastructure, almost no electricity. That's why we're using solar power to run the chiller. We're using ice as well to cool the milk. The solar power runs everything else. And we have a way to monitor the temperature of the milk and to actually control the system using a remote connection via just cell phones. So there's a cell phone at the other end. Right now the system is in Burlington. We're going to send a text to it, and it'll reply back with the temperature of the milk and a few other status information. So I'm sorry to say, Bob, but there's no Ethernet here. It's all through the cell phone network.
Well, there's Ethernet here.
Here. So it's basically a phone-to-phone communication, text messaging back and forth. And we're going to test this in India. I mean, it's going to work. We think it's going to work pretty well. There's a pretty good cell phone coverage in a lot of these villages.
There's no internet access or Ethernet in the villages, but there is cell phone.
All right.
It says,
"Hi, stranger. I don't recognize you. Who are you?" So, Sam.
So now you reply.
What should I say?
Your name.
Why don't you explain what you're doing?
So we're sending a message to another phone which is connected to our system. Our system is currently monitoring the temperature, telling us what's going on, and it will reply back with an answer. At the same time, we're also tweeting. Every 15 minutes, we send a status update with all the other data that we don't want to see, like temperature of the water, temperature of the milk, the ambient, and all that stuff. And we have another program that pulls that information off the Twitter page and puts it into a graph in a database, and we can monitor that over a period of 24 hours, 48 hours, and so on.
This is the result.
Yeah, so it says, "Hi, Merald, you must be one of Sam's friends. Current milk temperature is 4.9 degrees C. Say hi to Sam."
So that's the wrap up.
So on that note, so right downstairs, dinner is served, and so you should get some food and then find a place to sit, maybe right back up here or anywhere in the house here. So, great. And try to sit next to someone you don't know.
Congratulations, you guys.